old school muscle. That's all I have to say. Oh! The first thing you notice when you get in the car is that it is old school muscle because it can't really turn that well. The steering's pretty floaty back and forth. And at the same time, it has this deep, groany, kind of old school V8 sound, but that's like the best part of it. And at the same time, this one in particular has some goodies on it from the show Knight Rider. So you have the little light bar in the front and a little bit of bits and pieces from it here and there. So basically, this has a bunch of the 82 Firebird stuff on this car to kind of have a throwback. Pretty much, there's not many different things about the 82 and the 92. So that 10-year span was pretty much the same car. And you can interchange parts like Frankenstein it, just like a lot of GM cars nowadays, kind of with the LS motors and that sort of thing. And right now, I am in Las Vegas for the SEMA show. It's my first time out in Las Vegas. The car has a lot of rattles in it. It is an older interior, lots of plastics, lots of rubber. So you have the plastics basically bouncing off the rubber and it just is loud racket. Every bump you hit is an event. The car's on Eibach lowering springs, so not having the stock suspension plus the rattles, that's why it's so loud. With the kind of Knight Rider vibe, it's funny whenever you go to these stoplights, and by the way, Las Vegas has, I'm just gonna say it, some of the worst stoplights in the entire US I've been to, and it's like they sit here forever. The green lights seem to be longer, but you have to sit at the red longer. But with that, my point of this matter is when you are sitting at these stoplights, you definitely feel like you're in a special car. When everything else is around you, it's very, like, I feel like I'm gonna go save the day in this car. It has just a weird vibe to it. It's hard to describe. And it sucks because you can't really use the light bar where you're driving down the road because you'll get pulled over for it. But when you're parked, you just flick that sucker on and you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. You just feel like that the Knight Rider theme song is playing on loop on a broken record everywhere you go. The gears are extremely long. They're a 323 rear end, so they just go on and on and on. And so when it does shift, you just aren't expecting it. It just kicks you in the butt. The lower gears, it's almost better to be in first or second gear. This is an automatic, but you can shift into first and second and then overdrive as well. And every time you get on it and you let off, you get this kind of crankly pop sound. You can't really hear it that well, but it's very undertone, very aggressive and grim sounding. Probably the best way to describe the gear ratio is that they're quarter-mile gears. So you go through the power band, and then near the very top, they just kind of fall on their face. So you get torque and horsepower, and it just kind of slows down. For being this old of a car, I kind of expected the seats to be, well, not that good, but they are pretty comfortable. I mean, if I went around a corner fast, I would probably hit my head on something. But other than that, they're soft. You could do a long road trip in this car and I think you'd be fine. But when it comes to cornering and stuff like that, no, bad idea. There it goes. Don't do it. Every time you go into second, it just chirps. And the tires, they're dry rotted, so they're just taking a beating on this thing. This car belongs to my buddy Jacob, and he decided to message me about doing a car review in Vegas, and he said it had some kit parts of it, and that's what got my attention. And plus, I haven't done a Firebird or a Trans Am yet, so I figured I'd do it while I was out here in the desert. And when you think Firebird, Trans Am, a lot of times you think about the West Coast and California and Nevada and all that, so it kind of fits the theme of it. Get out of the way, Prius. Every time the car shifts in auto or whatever you want to do, it chirps a gear, no matter what. It doesn't even have that much horsepower or torque, but it just does it the way it's distributed. And I think that kind of makes it fun because you can get on it and not get in a lot of trouble, but at the same time, you're still making noise and you're still chirping the tires. I just feel like I'm gonna go rescue everybody on the strip from their gambling habits. This car, believe it or not, has been in their family for 12 years. And I know for a fact that sentimental value and emotion is a huge part of car culture, so I can't blame them one bit. If they found this and it was their baby, and not to mention, Firebirds and Trans Ams of this era are really rare to find in this clean condition. I mean, yeah, it has a resprayed body. It's a nice new coat of paint, and also the wheels are a little bit different. But overall, to try and find like an IROC Z or anything along those lines that's clean, I'm really impressed with how well composed this car is. The motor up front is a V8 355. It's a 5.7, so kind of like the old grandpa to the new LS motors, I guess you could say. It's interesting to see the progress over the year of the V8 by GM, and they've really outdone themselves these past 20 to 30 years. When they got it though, was just the stock 350 up front, but then they had it bored, so it made it a 355. And then after that, they did a complete bolt-on setup. Intake manifold, intake, exhaust, what have you, whole 9 yards. It's pretty much, without messing with the motor too much, it's pretty much the best the motor can be. Stock 350 in this car made 245 horsepower and 345 foot-pounds of torque. Now for the modern era, 245 horsepower to a performance car is laughable pretty much. But overall, back then that was a big deal. But torque is where it really shines. This car's never been dynoed, so we'll just say it has a good amount of gains. Not too much, not like forced induction, but a pretty good amount of gains. The only internals of the car that are done is a very, very mild cam. So it does lope just a little bit, but not too much. It's not like it's about to throw up cam. This is definitely one of those cars that I've reviewed that, I know it sounds weird, in a Firebird, you really don't feel the need to drive fast. Even though, yeah, we're doing city driving, we don't have a lot of room to do it anyway. But at the same time, it's just so fun just to cruise around in it. You have nothing to prove. It's like you have parts of an American muscle icon along with parts of a pop culture icon all in one car, and you just drive it around. So when you get to drive past things like SEMA, you almost feel like a part of SEMA. Oh, that's a bump. Oh, every time this car shifts, it's so vicious. So if you guys have noticed, it's starting to get dark. I do adjust the lighting for my camera, and so I turned on the lights after tinkering with it, and only one came up. So I'm gonna try this again. Turn the lights off, turn it again. Ah, they both came up now. Awesome. For a second, I felt like a Miata. Headlights go up, headlights go down. All right, guys, I want to thank every single one of you for checking out this quick little review video that I squeezed in while here in the lovely Las Vegas. I want to thank Jacob so much for coming out all the way to the strip to let me drive this car. It was a good time. I will see you guys later, and take it easy. I'm going to go save some people Knight Rider style. So much money is being lost there right now.